Welcome back to the Frontend Coffee Break. This is episode 50. This is the podcast. Yeah, okay, 50. 50, it's a lot. It's a big number, Tucho.
It is. It's almost the amount of age that I have.
Don't say that to the listeners, otherwise they will unsubscribe. You all fart. We're very young here, very trendy, always on the cutting edge of technology. And this is the podcast where we, take a break, talk technology, talk front end specifically, and sip a cup of something. This old man. So yeah, today I'm wearing this baseball cap. Usually, my favorite baseball team, the Red Sox, are eliminated from the postseason, and now I'm rooting for the Los Angeles Dodgers, which are the second best. Fun to watch. So yeah, postseason, interesting stuff nowadays on baseball world. How are you, Chicho? How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing good. It's been, after the summer ended, it's been for me a little bit more quiet, which is nice. I'm actually enjoying, my favorite season is definitely autumn. So I'm happy that we're starting this.
It doesn't exist anymore. Nicely. Spoiler.
Well, yeah, it goes like you have the summer, autumn, winter, spring, summer, something like that. But still, the few weeks or months that we have of autumn, I love it. It's like spring, but without the allergy. So I'm all in.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So today we want to talk JavaScript, specifically about the state of the JavaScript, which, as you may know or not know, this is also like this sort of project that they're running where every year they try to survey the community and gather some information on, again, what is the state of JavaScript in the front-end space in terms of frameworks, usage, awareness on technologies, JavaScript features, and then, yeah, it's just a big, massive survey that gives you great insights on this current year, trends and all those things. But Chucho, let us know more about the state of the JS survey. What is it?
Well, it's, as you say, the state of JS is a survey that has been around since 2016. Correct. So we've seen it for 9 years. Next year is going to be the 10th year anniversary. And the idea behind the survey is to get to know exactly what people are using, what do they feel about it, get some statistics out there to collect this information from the users themselves, the ones that are actually working with frontend, and then to potentially use this to give an idea of what's trending, what you should be learning next, and basically how things are coming along. Like, for example, the satisfaction that people have in some of the, well, for example, frameworks. So it's interesting, and it's nice that, for example, in Cognizant NetCentric, we've been encouraging people to participate in this survey every year. This year, it happened just recently. Someone shares, hey, the state of the JS is out there. Please do participate. We ourselves have a survey, an internal survey, to talk a little bit about front-end related topics regarding on what the people have been using. Something I'm not going to compare to this, but we also have our own state of NetCentric, where at the end of the year we ask people to share what they've been doing. And this always helps to understand what's happening, what the trends are, and where to go to. But it's interesting. I don't know have you participated already? I haven't.
Not this year, but in previous years, yeah, I always try to give my grain of sand. Although I gotta say, when I see the results, it's usually not something I can take actions on. It's very interesting to see, like, okay, I don't know, this framework is going up, this other framework is going down, or there's the new kit on the blog and people are using it. But really, for me to take action on what to learn, what to implement, or what to suggest to clients, not so much. How about you?
Well, a little bit like you. I'm not the kind of users that go through the results. I do like to look at the results and see, especially in the topics that I'm more interested in, and see how they're doing. And but usually I haven't used this information to take a decision regarding on where I'm going to go next. Especially because a lot of the work that we're already doing, at least currently in Cognizant NetCentric, we are guiding it as a whole, and we already know a general idea of where we're going. So these kind of things, although are interesting to take into account and potentially use as information, usually don't affect, at least for me, the kind of work that I'm currently doing. I do take into account, for example, I love to see the state of Svelte, which is my favorite framework. I'm going to see right now, I'm going to read a little bit about the statistics from last year to see where it was. But it's one of the things that I like to look into, as well as what tools are being used for this or that, for CSS or whatever, depending on what the survey provides. But looking at, for example, that framework information, do you think that, for example, the JS framework has been dying down lately?
I think it's not at least, although I still am subscribed to JavaScript Weekly, and I follow people on the Fediverse, Mastodon and stuff. I don't see like as much noise as we had before in the previous years. Like you would see a new framework every 6 months, a strong one, right? Right now it feels more mellow, more like it's not as changing as it was before. It feels more stable. Like you have your rock stars like React, and you have strong contenders. You have a Vue, your Angular, your Svelte, and everything works on particular cases. But it doesn't feel like it changes as much as it did a few years back. How do you say it?
Well, looking at the trends, at least we can see. I'm gonna open right now. I'm taking a look at precisely last year's 2024 results, and you could see 2016. Basically, you only had three main frameworks: React, Angular, and Vue, which were the big ones. And you could see how they start growing regarding on usage, being React number one. I mean, I'm not surprised that a lot of the projects that sometimes our clients ask for are React related. I'm not a big fan of React. And I see that there's a lot of small of new competitors that are coming out, but they really don't measure up to what we already have. So for me, it looks like almost unless something breaking shows up, I think that at least the frameworks that we have, React, Angular, and Vue, are going to be there for still a bit longer. They don't seem to be running down, although there's a lot of competitors. Just looking at some of the ones that are appeared last year, Preact, Alpine, Lit, not last year, in the last couple of years. Solid, Quick, which I think we've mentioned before, Stencil, and HTMX. Interesting enough, there's other in the framework category, in the libraries category, there's other front-end frameworks category where you can see Astro, Ember, Next.js, jQuery, and things like this. But the main frameworks over time are those that we mentioned. Svelte is fourth in number of usage, going from Angular and Vue around 50%, React being 82%, Svelte only at 26%. But if we select satisfaction, React and actually every other framework is all there up there except Angular, which is one of the lowest one, under 60% satisfaction and appreciation as well. I think one of the most appreciated is Preact, it seems.
Which is
And Svelte is
interesting
the
because
least.
so sometimes like the use of a framework, it doesn't really reflect what the industry community want to do. Because sometimes, or what I found in enterprise, like going to big clients, they would, for instance, request you React because it's the most used, or because their own teams or their own in-house developers, they know this framework. Not because maybe Svelte makes more sense, or it's more lightweight, or it has a more or a better developer experience, easier to learn, whatever it is. They still choose maybe the harder path might be React because, again, already you have developers that know about it. They know how to code on it, or at least they say they know how to code, because it's super easy to enter in these loop hooks and do this crazy stuff. So it's not easy to do a well done production React app anyway. But yeah.
Well, one of the projects that I worked a couple of years ago, I suggested Svelte as a potential web component library. It worked quite nicely. We developed this very nice web component that was used across multiple websites. And it was the first one that was created for the client. The client didn't exactly know what to use. I suggested this, they accepted. And then eventually, months later, they said, okay, we're going to use React to create our components. And I was talking to the client. It's like, why would you choose React? Not like question, why are you choosing? But just like, hey, I would like to know, why did you go with React in the end? And basically the answer was, because we have more developers that already know React. It's something that they already know how to do. And I mean, looking at the percentages, there's a lot of people working with React. And they said Svelte is not really that known, which is quite valid a quite valid reason to do it. I did tell them, hey, Svelte can be learned from with a high level developer. They can learn in a couple of days, literally, and lower, more junior developers, not lower, more junior developers, less experienced, they would learn it in a week or a couple of weeks at most, because it is very intuitive. You do need some Svelte expert, but for the most part, you really don't need it. But it was not. They decided not to go to. So yes, a lot of companies decide to go for the most known ones, because it's what people know. It's easier to hire people, whether they know it or not. There's more people that say, I know React. In the academy, most of our developers already know, for example, they have in the CV that they already know React and have not that much experience.
Yeah, for me, this is like a cheap answer, an easy way out to this problem. It's not easy, like to choose a framework that you will base your platform on. It's not an easy decision. And then the decision that you will regret or enjoy in the years to come, right? Because it's not something, if you start developing components or systems that you integrate to each other, of course you wanna perhaps use it on the same framework, so it's easy to import and to include, unless you do this micro front ends. Anyway, so that definitely it's a hard decision, but just saying that your developers know this technology rather than saying, hey, can we, you guys, could you explore this thing and give us an informed opinion on what you think? And as you say, as well, it's very intuitive, very easy to learn. I think it's harder to code it wrong. Like React is very easy to do it wrong. Like in React, you can start. I mean, I've seen these hooks and these places in the code where you put the console log and you suddenly change something in the UI and it fires like 10 times. And you're like, what is going on here? And if you mistakenly put, like, I don't know, API calls or something else, it could be very costly for you, right? So it's not easy to do it right in these big frameworks. And I think Svelte or Vue are easier to get right from less experienced developers.
I agree. They tend to be less complicated. I mean, I'm not downplaying what you get from React. It's interesting what you do get from there, and especially for those people that, for example, come from a more full stack or backend background, it might be easier for them to wrap their mindset about working with these. But I think that it's worth, especially having, if you have an experienced front-end developer, to consult them and see, hey, is it worth our time going in this direction, and more or less balance if it's a risk that you can take or not. But as a big company or a company, it is a risk to take, to choose, for example, frameworks that are not really big, well known. But you can always try this in smaller projects, internal projects, or things like that, so that people can get experience. But definitely, it's a hard decision. I was looking into some of the statistics, and I thought about the new framework. We were discussing this earlier today about and I think it was a little bit of, this would be a little bit of a clickbait. Is AI the new framework? In Frontend, is AI the new the equivalent of frameworks nowadays? I was looking into the surveys, and I saw that in 2022 there were no questions related to AI, but then again in 2023, so 2 years ago, they started asking about AI tools. They have this specific section, being ChatGPT number 1 with 68%, and GitHub Copilot and 48%, Google Gemini at 12%. Last year, it changed. ChatGPT is still strong at 67%, Copilot 48, still 48%, but then Claude appears here at 23%. And let's see what the numbers are going to be this year. But definitely, AI is something that's interrupting, being a big part of the state of JS nowadays.
I mean, if you think about it, like for some developers, frameworks will be relevant. Like if you are a vibe coder and you only code with your agent and you only ask to create things from scratch using the AI, what do you care? If it's in React, Svelte, or Angular, really, what do you care? Like if you say, do me a dashboard, create me a dashboard that it prints, I don't know, the latest whatever news from these websites, and then it aggregates and whatever it does. Like, do you really care? Like if it's built on top of Svelte or Angular? No. right? So it could be that sure, for some developers, the AI is a framework that they learn how to use the AI to its fullest with the prompts, with the correct models in LLMs and whatever it is. So it could be. It could be. I still don't think it's our future, but for some, yeah.
But I mean, the thing is that in this case, I think that the AI would be or should be more successful with more known frameworks, because in the end, they're just really autocompletes on steroids. Right now, AI, and this is very important for people to understand, AI are autocompletes with steroids. So that means that they will be as good as the model or the information they're based on. And right now, React, it's definitely one of the frameworks that has more examples of code examples out there. So potentially it might go in that direction and make that a little bit more popular, which, I mean, in a way, if you think about it, maybe it's not such a bad idea to learn a little bit of React just because of this.
No, I think we all know. No. The answer, I mean, you already know, if you're here and listening to this podcast, you already know the answer. The answer is vanilla JavaScript. That's the answer.
I agree regarding vanilla JavaScript. I think it's something that everybody, and we've mentioned it so much. It's something that if you're interested in front-end developer, even if you're going to go for React, learn vanilla JavaScript, learn the basics. It's going to allow you to understand React better, understand any framework that you work with better. It'll make you even better at the framework, and it will give you flexibility in order to understand other stuff. So definitely.
You don't want to be labeled as a React developer. You want to be labeled as a front-end developer that can do React, Angular, Svelte, whatever it is. And when the new framework comes in, you're still there and you're not fired from your job. So yeah, definitely.
There's something that I love. I was taking a look at the JavaScript TypeScript balance.
Ooh.
That was last year. How do you think it is? Regarding
in terms of how much code is written in JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript or TypeScript?
Okay, let's see if I can see. How do you divide your time between writing JavaScript and TypeScript code? That's the question.
I would say 40 TypeScript, 40%.
Okay, here, for example, we've had that 100% TypeScript was 34% of the people, and that was the highest, the highest number. And actually, it's a curve that goes to only 0% TypeScript or 100% JavaScript was only 8%. So once again, I think it makes sense, especially if frameworks like React are popular, that they use TypeScript, that there's so many people that work with TypeScript like that. I personally, as we discussed, I'm not a big fan of TypeScript, but I love that you have here the curve, and it's a shame. It's a
different episode. I think we already talked about TypeScript. We will not dive again, but definitely, TypeScript.
But a good thing is that we're still a little bit far away from it being a standard, you know. Ooh, another one from last year, AI code generation. What proportion of the code you produce is AI generated? This is going to be very interesting. It's interesting.
This year, yeah.
Yeah, this year. Let's see. What proportion of the code is AI? 38%. 0 AI. 20% of the people said zero. Zero of the code that we are.
Okay.
So that means that 80% of the developers are using it in one way or another. Then everything goes, at least all the numbers go below 50%. So it seems that there's not a significant amount of people making more than half of the code in AI, which will be interesting to see, compare it to this year's survey to see how that has changed at all. I would expect it to change, but...
Again, I think we talked about this, but it really depends on what you do in your day-to-day. If you're maybe in a small agency that you have to ship many landing pages every week or every month, you probably will be on the far end of the spectrum where your 80%, 90% of your code is going to be generated, right? Because you want to boilerplate fast. You want to build from scratch very fast landings, and then you touch a little bit the details. If you are on a long-running project, be it enterprise systems, you probably will generate less and less because, again, your code base will already be there. And you just, maybe maintaining or extending. But usually it's hard to do it with Gen AI and you do it manually. So, yeah.
But what would you think, for example, nowadays regarding personal projects? Do you think that there's going to be more personal projects using, Vibe coding?
Yes, for sure. I mean, I already did from my side projects. Like I Why code from scratch? Like it works best. This GenAIs work best when it's a greenfield. When you say, I have nothing, please create a landing page that does this. And I was asking to create some sort of a selector that connects to WordPress and fetches my blog post. And it did it all by itself. This was just 5 minutes. And then I just took the styles, but all the logic, the JavaScript, everything was done. So definitely side projects that are not like meant to be maybe open sourced or like that. I use it and it works. Now, on my day-to-day, when I code for enterprise, really, it's as you said before, maybe autocomplete on steroids, and I use it. Surely, I ask some questions, but the amount of code it generates that I can use is small. It's rather small.
Okay. Oh, this is interesting because there's a lot of side projects, especially, for example, in my side, that I don't pursue because a little bit of it's a lot of work and it's a side project. It's a side project that I do sometimes for fun. And if I don't have the time to do it, well, I won't be investing too much time. But with generative AI, just creating some code from scratch and see how it works and explore some things might be interesting, especially for as you say, greenfield. I want to create this boilerplate that does this. It's not going to be perfect, but it could be an interesting way to push forward. Interesting.
Try it and let us know in the next episode. Thank you.
Let's see about JavaScript happiness last year. Looking at...
Who can be happy coding JavaScript? Nobody. Don't lie to me.
Well, it seems that the average is 3.08 in 2024.
It went from... out of what? Out of 5?
Out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah, out of 5. Sorry, it's 3.8, which is not bad, but it has gone down from a 3.9 it had originally when they first asked the question in 2020. So we'll see there. It's not bad. It's not bad.
You know what? One of the reasons for my unhappiness with JavaScript is the DEM dependencies, right? I hate picking up an old project, be it whatever, for work or personal side project, and then seeing that everything is out of date. And when you try to update, everything breaks because there are like new library frameworks that, like Svelte 2.3, Vue 2.3, and then you have all these things. It's not possible to migrate. You try to use it with AI, but it doesn't work. I hate it. I want vanilla JavaScript. I want no build systems. I just want it to work. Please. Thank you.
Well, it's let's take a look at the awards.
Next topic, awards.
Next topic. No, I was just looking at, I'm just going through the page. It's very interesting. And as we mentioned initially, it is interesting to take a look at the survey results, go through them, learn about what is being used, see what things worked, what things didn't work, and potentially use that as something to start to try on. I see that the most adopted technology was last year Vite. And the highest retention
for the build system, right? Yeah.
And the highest retention Vitest. I don't know if it's called Vitest or VI-test.
Vitest, I think.
Yes, Vitest.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, for unit testing, right? Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
The UI looks very good. Yeah. But if you have what's it called, Jest, it works the same, but you don't have a pretty UI. But I don't know.
Sorry, I lost the connection for a moment. Even though I'm well connected. Could you repeat the last question?
No, there was no question. I was just saying that Vitest is on the. It's growing on people because of maybe of the UI that offers you, but in essence, it's the same syntax as Jest, right? Which has no UI, and you just simply write in the terminal and you're done. So yeah, I don't see it. Like I explored in the project to switch from Jest to Vitest, but I saw no benefit. So why introduce this another dependency or this UI when what we have, it works, so that's fine.
Oh, we used it on one of the projects that I worked this year, and it was interesting. But as you say, it didn't provide any visible advantage over other testing frameworks. But it worked. It simply worked. Just very similar to the rest.
Which is already a lot. Like when you have a tool that simply works, and when you install on the first go, it goes smoothly. It's already like kudos to the developers, because oftentimes like you install something else and I tried to, what was it? Playwright a few months ago, like the end-to-end solution. I installed it and it crashed on the first npm run. Like it's a clean install. How can it fail? I don't understand. I don't know what I did wrong, what I installed wrong, what I didn't configure, but it should not fail on the first go. Like if you have a clean
No.
installation, it cannot fail. So don't do that.
It shouldn't fail. I mean, if you start with a technology and it doesn't, if you don't get it working quickly, let's say 5-10 minutes after reading a tutorial, it's maybe not the right thing for you. Continuing with the state of JS, and another interesting category is the courses and training material. It's interesting that they have also, and this is interesting for developers to take a look at what people are using to learn frontend. And the resources wise, for example, you see Udemy, Frontend Masters, one of my favorite. You Don't Know JS, that's one of my favorite resources. O'Reilly, Codecademy, and other series of resources here. There's a list of newsletters. So if you've ever thought about, hey, what newsletters could I subscribe to? And we've talked about this in one of our first episodes. JavaScript Weekly, CSS Tricks, Node Weekly. I mean, this week in React, it's quite nice. Podcasts, Frontend Coffee Break. No, it's not there.
We wish, but no.
We wish, but there's a lot of other podcasts that you can take a look at, which is interesting. There's one that's called the CSS Pro Podcast. Frontend Happy Hour. It's like like us, but instead of coffee break.
No, these guys are good. The Frontend,
have a good one.
Bye-bye. Frontend Happy Hour, these are good. It's been a while since I heard their podcast. I don't know if it's in hiatus or we're still going, but it was very good.
Well, it was there in more or less in the middle of the table in 2024. Video creators, there's people, other surveys. It's interesting. They have originally at the beginning, if you look at the first surveys, you see information about CSS and HTML. But right now you have state of CSS, state of HTML, state of React, which is interesting. So there's this is something that has grown quite a bit. The state of JS has grown quite a bit. And now you can see, for example, I'm seeing that state of React only has a past survey 2023 and 2024. It has 2, and you can take a look at the results there. Very similar to what we talked about, component libraries and things related to React. So it's interesting. It's not just, it started as state of JS, which in general terms was state of Frontend, and now has specialized in these different surveys. My recommendation would be to take the surveys, participate in the surveys that you're most interested in. State of JS, state of CSS, state of HTML would be nice. And if you're a fan of React, go for that one as well. Try to participate, because the more statistics, the more information we get, the better informed you'll be, and better informed decisions you can take.
Yes, as a closing words, I would just say that friends don't let friends learn React. So please learn vanilla JavaScript. Use Vue, and if you're brave, use Svelte, which is also very cool. Chucho, any last words?
Yes, friends don't let friends learn TypeScript either.
Oh, shots fired. I think we lost already 10 subscribers. Sorry to see you go. We will talk more React on the next episode.
Okay.
All right. See you next time, guys.
See you next time. Bye.